Hello, students. Welcome to the discussion of part 2 of the story A Letter to God written by G.L. Fuentes. In part 1, we have seen that how Lencho was disturbed due to the destruction of his crops and nothing was left. And he was despaired, hopeless, but he recalled that if no one is there, no hope is there, God is there. And he decided to write a letter. And for this, he went to the town, dropped the letter into the mailbox, and went back to the home. When it was received by the employees and the postmaster of the post office, they started laughing at the poor man that how could an employee know the address of God? In the beginning, they mocked at Lancho, but soon they got emotional. The postmaster was amiable and fat person. He was very friendly. He commented what faith he had, and he started saying that if he would have that much of faith in God, he would have talked to the God. So he decided that the faith of the writer should not be shaken in God. So he came up with an idea that they would reply this later. But it was not only the paper, pen they needed. When they opened, the letter was written, the letter was asking for 100 pieces. And for them, it was a bit difficult to collect 100 pieces. But the postmaster resoluted himself and started collecting money from the employees of the post office and said for the act of charity. That means show the kindness for a poor person. And another reason was that the postmaster didn't want to shake the trust of the writer in God. And so they posted the letter to Lencho and they wanted to prove it that the letter was given by the God, so they put the signature as God. And they were in wait of the writer. After doing such kind of charity, after showing kindness, all employees along with the postmaster were very much satisfied. They wanted to note the expression of Lancho, so they were waiting. Lancho, in the following Sunday, came and received the letter from the postmaster. But it was not a surprise thing for Lancho. Everyone was shocked that he didn't give any kind of expression when he found the letter. Lancho became aggressive. He started murmuring. He started talking to himself that the God had not done wrong with him. He got 70 pieces because the employees were not able to give him 100 pieces, but they could arrange 70 pieces. But as Lencho was not surprised at all because he was a firm believer and he was thinking that he would get the reply of God. But when he received only 70 pieces, he became aggressive. He started blaming the employees of the post office. He called the employees a bunch of crook, cheater, deceiver, that they must have taken my money. And he decided to write a letter again. He couldn't feel that how could that God give the money. He didn't realize that he could not receive the letter from God. This is the act of human kindness. In previous discussion, this was the contrast that someone is writing a letter to God, not to the human. That means Lencho didn't think about the help of human, but he was in hope of God. Immediately, Lencho went up to the window to ask for paper and ink, because that time the post office was providing paper and ink to the people who need. On the public writing table, he started to write with much wrinkling of his brow, because he was in anger, he was in pain, and he was blaming only the employees. When he finished, he went to the window to buy a stamp, which he licked and then affixed to the envelope with a blow of his fist. The moment the letter fell into the mailbox, the postmaster went to open it. It said, "God, of the money that I asked for, only 70 pesos reached me. Send me the rest, since I need it very much, but don't send it to me through the mail, because the post office employees are a bunch of crooks." Lencho. Lencho never thought of human kindness. It was his firm faith, his firm belief in God, that he called the employees a bunch of crooks. That means, according to him, they would have taken the rest money. So he again requested God to send him 100 pieces, as it is much important for his life, for his survival, for his fields, and for his family. In return of the kindness of the postmaster and employees, they just received disrespect. They were called a bunch of crooks. So, this is the end of the story. The end was very painful, because humanity ends. Do you ever think that why it had been written a letter to God, not to any specific particular person? This is the loss of humanity among us, because we people are not thinking about others. Lencho was a very innocent, poor guy. He had faith only in God, because he would have seen the behavior, the changing behavior, the changing scenario around him, that no human can help him in his misery. And this is the reality of our society, that humanity is falling down. Everybody became selfish. Everyone is thinking about only his own profit, and whatever a person is doing just for the sake of profit. This is the reality. Even today we are worshipping God just for some purpose. We are distributing money, we are distributing sweets just for the benefit. Isn't it? Don't you think like that? You need to observe. You need to observe the reality of the present scenario and the scenario which had in the past. With these words, I would like to end this story. But this story can be a question mark on humanity, and it can be a representation of a farmer's life, in which The writer has described the struggle of a farmer